what exactly are we going to be covering? Three big things today. We're going to be talking about calories, we're going to be talking about macros, we're going to be talking about micros. And the simplest way that I can put those three are calories will determine how much you weigh. Macros will determine how you look. Micros will determine how you feel. What's up everyone, David here. Got a new video for y'all today, but before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. Now today, we're gonna be talking about diet. What is it that you are putting inside of your body? Now, it doesn't matter what your goal is, whether it's to build muscle, build strength, lose fat, feel healthier, whatever it may be. There are so many diets out there, so many food groups. There's this thing, which is this life-changing food. We got this, don't eat this, it's banned. It's got this, this, and that. It's got this ingredient. We got this diet for this problem. We got this diet, which is the end all be all. There's just so much information out there about what you should be eating, when you should be eating, this diet, that diet. There's just so much out there, and it could get a little confusing for those who are just trying to figure out what is it that I need to eat. I'm new to lifting, I'm new to this new lifestyle of trying to live a little healthier. What food advice should I actually listen to? So lucky for you, this video specifically is about just breaking down the basics when it comes to food as a whole. I'm not going to be telling you what you should be eating because I don't know you. Just how you shouldn't be listening to everyone saying, well, if you got this, you should be eating this. If you got this, you should be eating that. No, because at the end of the day, you know yourself better than anyone else. You should be making your own decisions about what you're putting in your body. I'm just going to be breaking down a couple of just big key items, I should say. I guess that's the best term to use. The big key items to take into consideration, and then based off of what you learn from this video, you can go ahead and apply it to whatever diet it is that you are actually going to be following. So what exactly are we going to be covering? Three big things today. We're going to be talking about calories, we're going to be talking about macros, we're going to be talking about micros. And the simplest way that I can put those three are calories will determine how much you weigh. Macros will determine how you look. Micros will determine how you feel. So with that being said, let's get into the first one. So first one, calories. Now, you can think of it as more as like when you're a beginner, this is what you're going to be focusing on. When you're intermediate, you're focusing this. The more advanced you are, the sooner or later you'll start focusing on this. But regardless, take all of it into consideration. To start off with, calories. When it comes to diet, most of us either have the goal of losing fat, which is a good amount, or to build muscle. Me personally, when I first started working out, my goal was to build muscle because I was always on the skinnier side. I wanted to gain weight, but I know many of you are the other way around. You're overweight and you're trying to lose it. And when it comes to calories, the biggest thing is calories in versus calories out. So that determines whether you're going to be in a deficit or in a surplus. So what that means is a caloric deficit means that you are burning more calories throughout the day than you are actually consuming. If you're eating 2,000 calories per day, then if you're going to be in a deficit and you're trying to lose weight, then you should be burning more than 2,000 calories per day. So let's just say 2,500. Now, if you're in a surplus, that means you're going to be eating more calories than you are burning. So if you're eating, or if your body burns 2,000 calories throughout the day, then and you're trying to gain weight, okay, now bump it up to 2,500 calories per day. So you see, one will determine whether you're going to be losing weight. The other one will determine whether you're going to be gaining weight. But we also have a third component, and that's maintenance. Let's just say you're happy with the way you look, you don't want to gain a little bit more muscle, and you don't want to keep losing more weight. You're good with where you are, and you just want to hold off there. All right, that's maintenance. You eat 2,000 calories a day. All right, perfect. Burn 2,000 calories a day, and you'll look exactly the same. So depending on what your goal is, that's how many calories you should be eating throughout the day. Obviously, you want to lose weight, then you got to be burning more calories. You want to gain weight, eat more. And then if you want to look to stay the same, well, don't change what you're doing. Now, one big thing that I really want to emphasize, and this could lead to more health issues if you're not cautious about it, is specifically the deficit. Notice how in the deficit I said you need to burn more. I didn't say you need to eat less. But for the surplus, I said you need to eat more. I did not say you need to burn less. No. Because when it comes to the deficit, specifically those of you who are trying to lose weight, it gets in the notion where it's like, okay, I need to eat less. I need to eat less calories, less calories, less calories. But sooner or later, if you start getting to that point, you're gonna be malnourished. There's only so much food you can avoid eating before you start facing other health problems, including malnutrition. So when it comes to a deficit, a lot of people, especially from the clients that I've trained in the past, they're actually eating good amounts of foods, the right amounts, the right types of foods, the timing of the food is spot on. The only problem is they're just not moving enough throughout the rest of the day. So you could actually be eating a relatively good amount of calories. Let's just say 1,500 is the right amount for your height, your weight, whatever, but you're not moving around throughout the rest of the day. So although 1,500 calories puts you in good health in terms of like the food that you're putting in your body, you just gotta be moving around throughout the day. If you're working an office job, you're a truck driver, bus driver, full-time student, you're sitting down all day, just stand up and move around a lot more. Don't think that if you're trying to lose weight, you need to eat less, less, and less. No, you just need to move more, more, and more. So put that in perspective. Now, another thing, since we're just talking about calories, at the end of the day, are calories just calories? To a certain degree, yes. If you're trying to lose weight, you can eat an entire diet full of just junk food, which is just consisting of donuts, chips, cake, cupcakes, just the most unhealthiest things in your life. And will you still lose weight? Well, if you're burning more than you're eating, technically, if you're eating 5,000 calories worth of just pure garbage food, but you're burning more than 5,000 calories throughout the day because you're just that active and you move around that much, well then, yeah, you will essentially lose weight because you are still in a deficit. Now, is that the best approach? Absolutely not. That is one of the worst approaches you can do because now you're putting your overall health at risk. So keep in mind, when it comes to losing weight, do we want to actually lose weight or do we want to lose body fat? That's another thing you got to ask yourself, because whenever people are eating those type of diets, what's another thing that they might lose? They might actually lose their muscle mass, and that's something we don't want. You want to build as much muscle as possible, and you want to lose the excess body fat. And how exactly do we build that muscle? That's when we start focusing more on the macros. So we already established calories are just going to determine your weight. Yeah, you're eating this bad food, but you weigh less because you are burning more than you're supposed to. But that's not going to determine how you look, because we just said you're going to be losing muscle mass along with your fat. Macros are what's going to be determining how you look. So we got 3 macros. Macro means big. So what are the 3 big nutrients? We got our proteins, we got our carbs, we got our fats. So everyone usually will say or read on a nutrition label that it has this many grams of protein, this many grams of carbs, this many grams of fats. But what exactly does that mean? Well, we already know gram is the weight. So it's got the weight of this much protein. But how does that convert over to calories? Because we may be thinking of something as protein has this many grams. Okay, how much does that contribute to the overall amount of calories of the food that you're eating? Protein has 4 calories per gram. Carbs, 4 calories per gram. Fats, however, have 9 calories per gram. So you see, the fats is what we have to be cautious of if we're starting to be mindful about the amount of calories we're eating throughout the day. Now, let's just say we take a nutrition label and it says it's got 10 grams of protein, but only 5 grams of fat. On the outside, we may be thinking, okay, that's a pretty good food calorie-wise, because the protein, it's got 10 grams, which is double the amount of fats. But if we actually calculate how many of the calories come from each, that's when we notice that food, although it has more grams of protein, it actually has more calories of fat. So we do the math, 10 grams of protein times 4 calories. So 40 calories of that food is coming specifically from protein. However, the only 5 grams of fat times 9 calories per gram, that's 45. So you see, although it has half the amount of fats, it's got more amount of calories. So that's something you got to take into account when it comes to eating the foods that you want. And that's why I said macros will determine how you look. Because although, yes, you're eating more grams of protein, essentially, you're eating more calories of fat as well. So you got to take that into perspective. So whenever you're going to be eating these 3, we got to understand why we're eating it. What is the importance of each? It determines how we look. What is it that we want more of? Muscle. We want to have that appearance that we're fit, that we got good amount of muscle mass. So that's where the protein comes in. Protein, the building blocks of the muscle. That's what we eat. That's why all the bodybuilders are always emphasizing proteins. That's why we see so many people eating chicken breasts, eating the red meat, eating the fish, protein powders, protein bars, protein shakes. Protein is important to build the muscle. Don't think that you will be seeing a lot of results for muscle growth in the gym if you are not eating adequate amounts of proteins. Carbs and fats, they are not the enemies. I don't care who you're listening to. Do not listen to them when they say carbs are bad for you. Do not listen to them when they say avoid fats at all times, that fat makes you fat. These are our fuel sources, all right? This right here, these two are the gas that you put in your car. Your car's got no gas, you're not getting anywhere. Your body has no carbs and fats, it's gonna be a rough day. Now, I would like to say, although I said it is the energy sources, we do have people that go on the keto diet, which me personally, I am very against. Can your body still run with minimal carbs and minimal fats? Can you still get the workouts done? Yes. Are there high-level athletes that do this? Yes. Are there people that see great results and feel absolutely nothing in terms of any health harm? No. But the thing is, your body will crash a lot faster. All right? You'll burn out a lot quicker when you don't have these, because these are our body's two biggest fuel sources. Carbs, our body runs off of carbs. Look at any athlete, any Olympian, specifically even like Michael Phelps. Look at what he eats before a big swim. Look at any athlete, what they eat before a big game. What do? They carb up. They eat a lot of pasta, a lot of rice, a lot of bread, things like that, because our body runs off of carbs. That is its primary fuel source. Our brain, what is the only usable substrate that it can use for good cognitive function, good brain health? Carbs. So that's why when people say, oh yeah, carbs are the enemy. Not really, because your brain needs the carbs. The carbs is what helps fuel you, get you to the workout. Fats, again, we need them. They are essential. When we're doing low intensity exercise, we're just going on a walk, we're just sitting around. We're maybe going on a light jog. We're on the elliptical, the stationary bike, nothing too crazy, something just very mellow. What is our body burning? Fats. The higher the intensity of the exercise, the more your body's gonna switch from relying on fats as a fuel source to carbs as a fuel source. The lower the intensity, the more your body's gonna switch over to relying more on fats. So when people think, oh yeah, my goal is to burn fat, it shouldn't necessarily be, okay, what am I doing for the exercise? David, you just said that the lower the intensity, the more your body is going to be using fats. So therefore, if my goal is to lose weight, I should be doing lower intensity exercise because that's what's burning the fats. When it comes to burning fat to lose weight, it's all about the calories in versus calorie. Your whole goal in that situation is to burn as much calories as possible. So do not do the low intensity exercise if your goal is to lose fat. Focus on burning those calories, and the harder the exercise gets, the more calories you're burning, the more intense it gets, the more carbs you're actually going to be burning. But I can get more into that if you want to see a separate video on that, going more into depth about how that may be, because I know it can sound kind of like contradictory to each other. Just comment down below, I'll make a separate video for that. But that's why it's important to know where all three of these come into play. Now, when it comes to your daily allowances, how much of each one should you be eating? Well, that's gonna be up to you, because everyone's different. Everyone's got different needs. For protein though, on average, if you're eating the protein, it obviously should be to build muscle. If you look at the research, the consensus, or the just general consensus, because again, everyone's a little different, but a good safe spot, if you look at the research, is gonna be 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So if you want to go ahead and convert that to pounds, I'll put it right here on the screen. But that's just something to take into account when it comes to eating the protein. If you eat less than that, will it hinder your muscle growth? Probably. Can you work around it? Yes, but everyone's different. Can you go more than that? Can you eat more protein than that per day? Probably. You can do whatever you want. Is it necessary? Maybe not as much. Maybe if you're like a higher level athlete, maybe your body demands a little bit more. But that's why it's a range. You just got to find what works best for you. You want to grow muscle? Increase the protein intake. Are you seeing results? Yes. All right, you're on the right track. If you're eating more and more and more, but you're not gaining as much muscle, well, maybe that's your body's way of telling you maybe it's a little bit excess. Because at the end of the day, even if you start increasing more and more and more protein, but your body doesn't need it, what else are you increasing? You're also increasing the amount of calories you're eating throughout the day, and that's gonna lead you to a surplus, and you might actually be gaining weight. So, you gotta do that research to find out what's best for you. Carbs and fats, same things. Depending on what diet you're doing, if you believe what everyone's telling you when they say go keto, avoid carbs, or go on a high protein, high fat diet, all that, it's gonna determine how much of each of those two you're gonna be eating. But at the end of the day, just know they are essential. There's a reason why they were put on this earth. There's a reason why there's a lot of natural carb sources. There's a reason why there's a lot of natural fat sources that you should be consuming. Those are your body's fuel sources. You should definitely be eating them throughout the day. Depending how much you want, well, whatever it is. If me personally, I'm leading up to a big heavy leg day workout, I'm gonna be carbing up the night before, so I'm gonna be increasing it. I got a heavy deadlift session, all right, it's time to increase it too, but that's just me. Find out what works best for you. And then lastly, timing. When throughout the day should you be eating all of these? There is research showing there's a little bit of benefits to eating each one at a certain time throughout the day, but we all got busy schedules. Whatever the research says, it's not always realistic for us to meet, because there's a difference between what we see on paper versus actual practical application. But a good general consensus would be protein. Obviously, eat it throughout the day, but really put a good emphasis on it right after your workout. Because you just worked out the muscle, time for it to recover. Let's get some protein in there right away to kickstart that process of building up the muscle, kickstart that recovery process. But again, it's not just after that. Throughout the whole day, you should be eating protein. Just a little bit more emphasis, really make sure you get some protein in afterwards, after the workout. Carbs and fats, again, same thing throughout the day. Some people, they don't like eating carbs or too many carbs in the morning, because there is some people that feel a little sleepy after eating carbs. Some people eat carbs a little bit more towards back in the day, because again, it makes them feel tired. Perfect, you're about to go to sleep, that's when you should eat it. But me personally, since they are a fuel source, I eat a lot of carbs right before my workout to make sure it gives me that fuel that I need to get me through the chest day, the arm day, whatever it is that I'm going to be working out. But even then, I still eat carbs and fats throughout the rest of the day. You just got to find out what works best for you and stick with it. Now, with that being said, we got the macros. That means large. Macro meaning big. What's the opposite of big? Small. So what are we going to talk about? The micros. Calories determines your weight. Macros determines how you look. Micros, though, determine how you feel. You could look like $1 million on the outside, but on the inside, do you feel like $1 million, or do you feel like a couple of pennies? That's why I like to use the example of bodybuilders. What do they do leading up to a show? They are very, very restricted on what they eat. They're dehydrating themselves to make sure they look nice and lean. They're depleting all of the carbs. There's so much that goes into account when it comes to becoming a bodybuilder. The macros are there, obviously. They look amazing, but the micros, they're not there, and that's why they feel horrible. It's ironic. Bodybuilders, looks-wise, are at their peak on the actual competition day, but health-wise, they are at their absolute worst. So kind of, it goes against it. But regardless, micros, what are we talking about? The little things, the vitamins, the minerals. And then where does we get those from? A good amount of it can come from fruits and vegetables. It's not always about the macros, the protein, carbs, fats, the rice, the chicken, the steak, things like that. No, we also have to take into account the fruits and vegetables that we're eating. Now, those are some natural sources that we can get it from, but there's also supplements. Think about it like this. The macros are the big traditional things that we see bodybuilders get sponsored by, that we see them promote, the protein powders, all that. The micros are what we see in like the pharmacy section of CVS, of Costco. Usually they come like in pills. So we're talking about like vitamin C tablets, vitamin D tablets, a daily multivitamin, a fish oil vitamin, things like that. Those are the micros. Those are the little things that we need in our body to determine our overall health. And a good way to determine what it is that we need for each is going to be our blood work. If you don't get your blood work tested pretty often, then you won't really know what it is that you necessarily need or what it is that you're lacking. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to our overall health, when we're trying to fix it through, the food or the stuff that we're putting in our body, all the issues we run into are either because of something that we're eating too much of or something that we're not eating enough of. So if you're eating way too much processed, fatty, saturated fat food, things like that, that's health problems. But If also, you know, we got a couple of issues with our bones, things like that, well, then maybe you're not eating enough of something. And in this case, it will be like calcium, vitamin D, things like that. We got a weak immune system. We're feeling sick. Okay, why do we feel sick? Are you not eating enough vitamin C? Because vitamin C helps with your immunity. That's what we're going to be looking into. That's why we see a lot of like those immunity packs, those like those shots. What are they? They're in the produce section, because where do we get a lot of our micros? From fruits and vegetables, from a lot of natural stuff like that. So that's why it's important to not neglect the greens. Those leaves, you know, those vegetables that you leave in the bottom drawer of your fridge and then you throw out once they go bad. Yeah, you're supposed to eat those. Those colorful things that grow on bushes and trees, those are called fruits. You need them, all right? Don't listen to all these bodybuilders that all you ever see them eat is chicken breast, rice, eggs, things like that. No, throw some color in your diet. What I like to do is I like to eat one fruit and vegetable from every color of the rainbow. So if I'm going with red, I'm eating strawberries. If I'm going with orange, I'm going to be going with carrots and oranges or orange juice. If I'm going with yellow, I'm going with ginger, I'm going with pineapple. If I'm going with green, well, there's plenty of options for that, but what I personally stick with, cucumbers, kale, spinach, celery. If we're going with blue, blueberries. And if we're going with purple, beets. So you see, I got every color of the rainbow covered. That's what I'm gonna be eating. And it's just those micronutrients. If you're someone who doesn't even like to eat those type of things, think about it, you're not doing it for the taste. You're doing it for your overall health. Blend it up in a shake, drink all your servings in one go, boom, you're good to go for the rest of the day. There you have it, everyone. Hopefully this video was helpful. Again, for those of you who are beginners, you're starting to get into the lifting game or just living a healthier lifestyle, don't get overwhelmed when it comes to nutrition and diet. There's so many diets out there. There's so many superfoods. There's so many bad foods. There's just a lot out there. It can get a little overwhelming if you don't know who to listen to or you don't know who's right, who's wrong. But hopefully all of this information right here kind of cleared up some things for you, and now you can adjust your diet accordingly based off of your needs. And again, it's all about you, your diet, your needs. What is it that we need to cater for your overall health? Because everyone's going to be a little bit different. Yes, this diet worked for this person, but there's no guaranteeing it's going to be working for you. It's all about doing that me search, not research, me search. That means I'm going to be researching me because I need to know what works best for me. Comment down below if it was helpful. Comment down below also any other tips that you have when it comes to diet or nutrition and what the tip is specifically for. Is it to gain muscle? Is it to lose weight? Is it to overall feel healthier? Whatever it is, comment down below. Let's try to help each other out. Also, be sure to comment down below any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is, comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help you all out. Be sure to subscribe not just to my channel, but my girlfriend's channel and our couple's channel so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos every week across the board for all three channels. For this channel specifically, new videos every Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. So don't miss out. And then Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on my accounts, girlfriend's accounts, couple's accounts. I put all the links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.